Let me read to you a passage from the 19th chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel, verses 13 to 15. It's the Gospel for Saturday of the 19th week in Ordinary Time. St. Matthew writes, "Then little children were brought to Jesus for him to place his hands on them and pray for them. But the disciples rebuked those who brought them. Jesus said, 'Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these.' When he had placed his hands on them, he went on from there." That's from Matthew chapter 19, verses 13 to 15. It speaks of the little ones. What do I mean? Imagine an unshaven man of dishevelled face, hair and clothes, accompanied by his dog on a lead, slowly making his way along a main street in the city hub of Sydney. People hurry past, coming towards and passing him, or overtaking him from behind. Many quickly glance at him and then cast their eyes ahead to their destination. No one gives him a moment's thought, not deliberately, but they are all busy, and he does not attract any notice. He is a nobody. He thinks this too because he has long been treated as a nobody by almost everyone, even the members of his own family. He has rarely received special attention. He has seldom felt appreciated or respected. If he ever were, so new would the experience be that he would be quickly confused. He has come to live in his own world, listlessly killing time from day to day without any purpose. He is neglected by others and by himself. In all this, he might be something of an extreme, perhaps, but there are many persons who scarcely feel the touch of an individual appreciation. Few really care for them. There are those whose marriages have never worked, and they live out their days in a twilight of inner and outer neglect. Not appreciated, the general impression they gain is that the world is unregarding of them, and though they compensate for this in various ways, nevertheless life for them remains unfulfilled. Cases such as these are of course not the norm. Most get along with some happiness and appreciation, but I regard them as emblematic. They represent a problem that most human beings experience to a greater or lesser extent. Lack of appreciation, lack of notice, lack of the love for which they have been made. We are made to love and to be loved, and this world cannot provide this to the extent that we instinctively wish. I was once in an aeroplane, and one of the passengers was a state politician, a man of importance. Just as we began to descend, the politician stood up, turned round and faced the body of passengers, and there he stood in front of all for about 5 or 10 minutes with a friend, simply to be seen. He was noticed, and he made sure that he was noticed. Many people are not noticed much. They are just small fry. I suspect that great numbers of people do not think that, well, if there is a God, he notices them. So they don't think of him much. It is very common among religions involving a high God who initiated the course of the world that this high God is understood to have withdrawn from the scene. I suspect that this, in part, is a reflection of the common experience of being unnoticed and unvalued. The decisive factor in a vital and living religion is the subject's sense of being touched personally by the deity. The subject senses a particular personal providence, not just a general providence exercised over the course of the world. When Rudolf Otto described the authentic religious experience in terms of a mysterium tremendum et fascinans, a mystery awesome and winning or fascinating, it necessarily entailed an interaction between the mysterium, the numinous, and the subject in his personal individuality. All this is to say that man cries out to be loved at the core of his self, that self that is rarely known adequately by his fellow creature. Man longs to be loved, appreciated and valued, for the Creator has made him lovable and valuable. Now, the distinctive thing about divine revelation is that it is the revelation of a God who loves the nobody. He loves the small fry. He loves the one whom nobody cares about. He loves the one whom people want to get out of the way and stop taking up other people's time. He loves the little person. He loves the neglected. The greatest task of the one who accepts the good news of the gospel, the religion revealed by Jesus Christ, is to take to heart the fact that God is love. Christ loved me, St. Paul writes, and gave himself up for me. He did that for me. I may not be important to anyone else. I may be important only to the extent that I'm useful to them. I may be as nothing when among the crowd, especially when, say, a politician is standing in full view, but I am everything to God. Jesus Christ died for me as if I were the only person in the world. This is one of the implications of our gospel passage today that I read earlier, from Matthew chapter 19 verse 13 to 15, in which Christ insists on the little children being brought to him. The little children. Their mothers were a nuisance to the disciples, who were concerned for the convenience of their beloved master. Let them come to me, Christ insisted with love. These little ones truly mattered, and they were made to feel that they mattered. It would be a good idea for each of us to look on ourselves as little children in God's sight. If we think we do not matter much to others or to society and the world, well, neither did those little children. But they were very important to Jesus Christ, the Son of God made man, and he is the most important person in the world. He notices us always and loves us always. He wants us near him, and he wants to give us his blessing. If we look on ourselves as little children before him and do his bidding, having trust in his care, however much the world might disregard us, then ours will be the kingdom of heaven. It is to such as these that the kingdom of heaven belongs. He said,